Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Car Addiction. Today I'm going to show you what's inside this box. If this is your first time in my channel, what I do over here is I do a lot of product reviews, I do a lot of small DIY. I'm also a huge Nissan enthusiast. I have full of 300ZX twin turbo, R32 Skyline, S55 AMG. Hopefully it's gone by the end of the week. And that's so far I have. I've been a good boy. Usually I have 8+ vehicles. But anyway, so today I'm going to show you what's inside this product. And if this is your first time in my channel and you're under 21 years old, stop, watch a cat video. This is not the right channel. Over here we make bad financial decisions and it's absolutely stupid what we do. Keeping up with that tradition, I just realized the Grady oil filter relocation kit, where it has the 8 lines coming out of the motor to the relocation, that's leaking. So I'm leaking oil all over. I just stood here for, I don't know, maybe a minute and there's this much oil in here. Now, I did talk to Luke at 13 Motorsports and he told me to come over anytime, but I have been a busy cat. I need to figure out some time to go see him. He's gonna help me with it because I don't know what I'm doing on that section. So let's see what's inside this box. All right, so I'm done teasing you guys. So this is a self-brake bleeder / vacuum tester. So if you are a car enthusiast who has a bunch of 30-year-old vehicles, this tool is very helpful for you because you can use this tool to bleed the brake yourself. And also, if you have a turbocharged vehicle like myself, you can use this tool to see if you have a vacuum leak. Now, this is a very important part of the equation. First of all, the quality of this product is, I'm impressed for what I paid. I paid 44 Canadian for all of this. This is metal, the cylinder is metal. This part where the vacuum gauge is, it has a rubber coating, so if you hit or drop, it won't break. Under the rubber is plastic, but the most important part is that cylinder. It is metal, it's aluminum. Now, this has both vacuum and pressure system. So you switch from vacuum to pressure using this toggle. Right now, it's in vacuum. So let's say if I put my finger here, my pump, it goes to vacuum minus 0.5 bar, which is pretty decent. And then I push it back and I put my finger here. And then it goes PSI. So right here, you can see it's almost 30 PSI. Why you need this? When you bleed your brakes, you need to suck it out, suck those fluids out. So you basically go on the vacuum side, you connect the contraption. I'm gonna show you that in a bit. And then you just keep pumping. You just have to make sure you have constant negative pressure, so constant vacuum, so that the system does not let any air go back into the brake lines, because air in the brake line is no-no. If you have any vacuum leaks, either you can put it on the PSI mode and pump up your system. And I highly recommend do not go more than 20, because a lot of vehicles, anything more than 20 PSI may create internal damage with seals and gaskets. Do not go more than 20. Pressure it up and then let's see if it loses any air. Based on how fast it loses that big of a vacuum leak that you have. You can also do the same test by pulling this and creating the vacuum instead of building pressure. You can do the test both ways. It's just because the vacuum is not as prominent, it goes a little bit. I personally would prefer to go with the pressure side because, you know, there's a lot more, the needle will move and it's easier for you to see. Now, how you set it up. This is your collector bottle and it's messy because I should have done this video before, which I didn't do. This is the collector bottle. This is where you collect your whatever fluid you're sucking in. Here's a hose. Here's another hose. So it comes with 2 big hoses. One you will put it in here. The other one will go right here. These are all brake fluid. I'm touching all this brake fluid. You shouldn't be touching brake fluid. I'm an idiot. Don't be an idiot. And then you hook this section up. And then all you have to do is you plug this into the brake bleeder and you start pumping. Now, this is what you have to be very careful. First of all, you have to figure out a way to keep this bottle straight up. This bottle keeps moving and it's not fun. So I'll show you how I do it in a bit. And when the fluid comes in, make sure, again, the bottle is up and make sure the bottle doesn't overflow so the fluid comes here. Because the last thing you want is brake fluid in this cylinder. It will destroy this cylinder. It will destroy all the seals and gasket and this thing will be useless. So be careful. Don't let brake fluid come past this container. And actually it has a safety mechanism right here. So fluid comes off here and there's almost a valve. Unless this area is submerged, it won't suck it in. For $44 Canadian, I think it's a good quality product. It's, you know, I didn't break my bank buying this. Link in the description. I would say this product is as advertised. Right over here, this does come with a bunch of heads that supposedly will go and on top of the brake bleeder valve. I tried using all of them. Unfortunately, they don't seal tight. That allows air to come in from all sorts of location. I personally didn't like them. You may use one of these fellas when you are doing your vacuum test. You can find a tiny hose, jam it in, put a zip tie in, and on the other hand, you can have the tool, and that will work. But in terms of bleeding the brakes, these tools were not useful, and I'm sure the manufacturer was aware of it, but it was cheap enough. All right, let me show you how I do it. My R32 Skyline is a right-hand drive vehicle, so the steering is definitely on the wrong side. So this is my brake master cylinder, and that is my clutch master cylinder. And I'm going to open this because I'm going to have to keep refilling this, because when you are bleeding your brakes, you don't want the fluid to go below, and you don't want any air sucking in from this side, so you want to keep refilling it. And of course over here it's, I don't want any brake fluid dropping on the body because it will strip the paint and it will start forming rust. On the other hand, right over here it says .3 brake fluid, but we're using a .4 product. That's Danny. We're using the StopTech Racing STR 600. If you saw my last video, you will see me reviewing this product. Link up there. So on the last video I mentioned why you can use a .4 on a .3 system and why it works. So let's do it. Now what you have to realize is when you're bleeding the brake, you're going to have to start from the furthest location and progressively come closer to the braking system. So in this vehicle, the farthest location from the brake booster is the rear passenger side. In a North American spec vehicle, it will be the rear driver side. Again, rear passenger side, whatever. On a North American vehicle, it will be at this side, and a JDM will be that side. We're going to start from that side. Danny just stopped by with some iron brew. Oh, this is so cool. This is absolutely cool. It's so hot and it's cold. All right, so this is your bleed nipple. It's usually the topmost point in your braking system. You're going to need a 10mm wrench, and lift your Rusi, and you're going to open it up. American vehicle, it could be a different size wrench, but the JDM is pretty much 10mm. We are going to put this hose in, but we're going to zip tie this so that we have optimal suction and there's no air going back into the system, because you need a complete airless system. All right, let's start using the pump. So I can still see air popping in. We're gonna fix that. You know what? I have a feeling the air is coming in from this end, not that end. I'm gonna use my feet to hold this straight. And it is also very important to keep a constant negative pressure in it, which I just broke the golden rule. So I'm gonna have to pump it again properly. In the meantime, I also have to make sure there's no air coming in from the master cylinder. Okay, I'm going to check the master cylinder. It needs refilling or not. All right, I topped up the master cylinder. So one thing I noticed is the fluid that's coming out right now, it's very clear. So I can assume safely that the fluid on the line has been swapped to the clear fluid. Now, before releasing the pressure, I will go and tighten this. So it's closed off now. Because if I pump the pressure, it holds the pressure right now. So it's definitely not leaking from my suction. It's leaking from this bolt. So if I lose it a little bit, it's safe to say it's bled well. Now, do keep in mind, after I bleed the rear axle, I will go for a drive and make sure the technique that I'm using is accurate. So, all right, so it's very hot, humid, and the iron brew. So we're done. We pumped all four corners, and especially the passenger side was very bad. There was black residue in it, and the first couple of bits that came out, it was very dark. And yeah, I was not too happy to see that color, because all three other corners, they were a little too yellow, but they were not dark. But that was dark, but anyway, I'm happy that we did this. I'm happy now there's fresh set of fluids in there, and fluid which is a better quality product than what it had before. Now I topped it up, and this can actually looks clear and nice. If you remember before, it was pretty black. And I'm gonna put my trusty socket in there. I actually don't really know what this does. Car came with it. I put it back. If somebody knows what that does, leave it in the comment section, because I don't know. Anyway, so we're gonna go out for a rep. Before I do that, I'm gonna start the vehicle. I'm gonna pump the brakes, so the pressure builds up in the line, and I'm going to see all four corners just so that if there's no leak on it, because if there's a leak on your brake line, you go, I'm not there yet, I'm not ready to meet my maker. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back in a bit. Alrighty then, so I'm back from my quick drive just around the block. It's not a block, it's 5 kilometers. Anyway, I forgot our 32 Skyline GTST with the M package, which has the Z32 calipers front and back, does not have ABS. I locked up the wheels, but the brake pad feeling improved drastically. Before I had a little bit of sponginess, and then the brake will engage and it will do the job. But I thought compared to my 300ZX, which is hard from right from, I thought it's just a different vehicle, sort of a different, kind of a different system. So I thought, okay, that is normal. But now the pad feeling is right at the top, and you smash the brake, it stops, and it doesn't have ABS, and it does lock up the wheel. I never locked it up before until today, actually, and well, that's a success in my dictionary. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you like my shenanigans, and if you would like to see more shenanigans, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to stay up to date with all that financial mistakes coming one after another one. I should have to call Luke, give him the good news that I will show up with a bunch of cash for him to take away. Stay tuned.